You can be very sure that meeting your new Filipina for the very first time in the Philippines can be met with many challenges. But there are certain negative thoughts that can play on your mind that can easily take away from the first meeting if you're not careful, and in fact could easily lead to you reconsidering the whole relationship. Now stay with me here while I explain what some of these negative thoughts are and how they can stop you having any chance of a successful relationship from the very start. Just quickly, if you're looking to date a Filipina and are not sure where to start, then why not check out my affiliate link in the pinned comment to the Philippines' #1 dating site where it's free to create an account. To me at least, the biggest problem in an online dating relationship is that because the two of you are yet to meet, it's very natural to be rather guarded with your heart and to wonder from time to time if she's as genuine in person as she seems online. The fact of the matter is that when two people finally meet up, some will be genuine and some may not. And it can certainly be rather hard to tell online. And really, all we can do is go with what we see and feel in our gut at that time, which will lead us to flying to the Philippines to see her in person and to find out for ourselves if she's as good in person as she was online. Just before we get into this video any further, just know that in this video, as in all my videos, I speak about my experiences, thoughts and feelings. And other people may certainly have different experiences, thoughts and feelings, which of course is normal and fine. The idea of a community like this one is for all of us to share these things together so we can create very helpful information for other members to think about and perhaps draw on to help them get a head start in their relationship with a Filipina. The first negative thought which one can have when going to meet your Filipina for the first time is that when you're on the plane, you have plenty of time to really think about things. And the problem with that is that sometimes you can really start to overthink these things far too much to the point where you can get yourself very worked up or worried about this woman before you even arrive. For many guys like myself, I remember thinking on the way from Sydney to Manila, what if I get there and she doesn't come to meet me because she's changed her mind? And the reality is that sometimes this can happen, and yes, it is a possibility. But I would like to think that really it's a rare occasion when this type of thing might happen to someone. And you need to understand that this thought comes into one's mind simply because you've invested much time and now money into this relationship, and perhaps you really want things to work out. Simply, when you care about something, you can have fears that it won't eventuate. So really, these things I mention in this video are more around your own fears or insecurities. And yes, being in an online relationship, it is common to have more fears and insecurities. But the key is, it's all about how we manage those and put them into perspective, which I'll address throughout this video. Now, speaking for myself, I felt I'd got to know her over several months fairly well online, and I just had to keep reminding myself of this as those thoughts would creep in. I also told myself that if she doesn't turn up at the airport, then she clearly wasn't right for me from the start, and I could still have a great vacation in the Philippines. So really, in my mind, I couldn't lose out here. And that's an example of what I mean by putting these things into perspective and not allowing negative thoughts or emotions to overrule your mind. But I must say that when I arrived at Manila Airport that very first time, my online girlfriend, or chatmate as she was at the time, was nowhere to be seen, and these thoughts certainly came flooding back in. So one really needs to have an understanding of Filipino time and how they're always running late, as well as traffic delays in Manila are often very common. But needless to say, she did arrive around 20 to 30 minutes later and all was fine. The second powerful negative thought many can't shake is always wondering if she's in fact genuine or not. Thoughts like, is she out to scam me, or does she want something from me, or is she just looking for a man to provide for her with a better life, or does she really even love me? All these thoughts can really shake your confidence in the woman, even if it's not warranted. Now, we all hear stories around non-genuine Filipinas who take a foreign man for a ride, so to speak, where she'll use him without any real love involved. And on channels like mine, for example, I have videos talking about watching out for the red flags that will indicate a non-genuine woman. And rightly so, I may add, because we all need to be aware and be able to easily sort out the genuine from the non-genuine women in the Philippines. But you need to know that we can also get far too hung up about this, almost to the point of being overly suspicious all of the time, and maybe even to the point of being paranoid. And I can certainly understand how guys can see this as being rather confusing. On one hand, I'm telling you to look out for non-genuine women and to know the signs. And on the other hand, I'm saying having these sorts of thoughts can ruin any chance of what could otherwise have been a good relationship. So again, it's all about putting things into perspective and not going overboard on either. Because we all know in the Philippines, like many other countries, there are women who may be trying to take advantage of you, and that's why it's vital to know what love scams they run and what signs or red flags to look out for. Understanding these things are like adding weaponry to your arsenal, so to speak. But you only draw on them when necessary. And that could be when you have noticed several inconsistencies, or your gut feeling is telling you that something isn't right. What you need to know is if you're constantly thinking that she may be out to scam you and looking very hard for every little thing, then that will take away the opportunity from getting to know her properly and for her to get to know you. Now, I'm not saying here to give her your full trust straight away, not at all. But you need to give yourself some credit. If you've been chatting to her for several months online and all seems fine, you have to put some trust in your ability from life's experiences to say, well, at least she seems all good to this point. After all, that's why you're now flying to meet her in the Philippines, right? I'm the sort of person that will trust someone to a certain degree until they give me reasons not to trust. So be observant, but clear your mind of all those negative thoughts that keep creeping in. Be in the moment and enjoy it for what it is, much like you would do with any other woman anywhere else in the world. If she's not genuine, then over the time you guys spend together, this will become very apparent. And if she is genuine, then as you guys spend more time getting to know each other in person, the trust and the relationship will develop naturally. But as I always say, you do need to take plenty of time getting to know each other in person. The typical foreigner Filipino relationships I see that start out online and end badly are usually because the relationship was rushed and the two people never spent a good amount of quality time together. So if you care about fulfilling the potential of the relationship, then you owe it to yourself, no matter how keen you are for a relationship, to slow it down and be absolutely certain before committing to a dating relationship or marriage. And as I say, rationalize your negative thoughts and put them into perspective so you won't be constantly thinking these things or even obsessing over them. Doing all these things mentioned in this video will certainly increase your odds of a long-term successful relationship with a good and genuine Filipina. For more information around meeting a Filipina for the first time, why not check out this card on screen now. Thanks for watching, stay safe and take care.